Yeah. Vaguely hear me, Joe, but welcome. Because I think we're at least on the screen. T-minus 2 minutes. Listening while he lays out registers and lights. Nice. That'll be cool. You guys putting in can lights, or are they the LED lights, or what are you putting in? Every time I plug it or switch meters, I don't have a cable switch. Wait for recessed lights. Hey, what's up, Zagan? Welcome. Alright, we'll just get it. We'll just pull it. We'll pull the trigger. Now everybody can see us.
Yeah, absolutely. Hello, everyone. Woo! It's wonderful. It's great to be back. It's a good Friday.
Mm-hmm.
Hello to Jake, Saru on Twitch, and everybody on YouTube. Again, hello, Joe, Zygon, Bosco. Wonderful evening to all of you. And we're going to paint tonight. Not paint. We're doing art tonight. There's a difference between the two.
And it's basically the same thing.
Yeah. Preston, thanks for joining me.
Oh,
as usual. Because who else can do all the good art? I actually, while we get some people in here to start giving us some wonderful recommendations, I do have a Cory paints by numbers, says Z Spam Bot. Hello and welcome. Hello, Casey. Welcome. I do have a suggestion, or something that I want you to paint or draw. I need to stop calling it paint. Can you draw our 2 new characters?
Maybe. Do we have a good, solid description for him?
Solid description, no, but I've got the Hereford's figures. They should be in the chat. I can send them to you again here, and you can use those as reference. I was thinking just like doing a duo of the 2 of them together, getting ready for combat.
I'll
put it up here. Yeah.
One is wolf-looking fox. Yes, you are correct.
Yeah.
He's Spambot. He is I think he's a kitsune with wolf-like features. So.
Okay, hang on just a second. It is telling me that the file size that is put on Discord is too big for Discord.
It's too powerful.
bring it down. We require
So-
more Vespine
So
gas.
we're gonna have to do it the dumb way, and I'm just gonna have to take a snapshot of it and send the snapshot to you. So there is Aloma.
All right. Let me pull that in. So Dallon's a half elf.
Dallin is a half elf, yes. Aramis is a half elf. I keep calling him Aramis on stream, which is wrong, and in game for the games that we have recorded, because we have recorded 2 now.
It's true.
That's right.
That's right.
You're all here chomping at the bit, and we've already recorded 2 whole episodes.
Ooh, spoilers. So I can see the Twitch chat right now, but I can't see the YouTube chat. Can you see the YouTube chat?
Yep, I can see them
Okay.
both. I got them both
Cool.
up here.
Just let me know
Yep.
if there's anything in there.
Yeah, let's
Yes.
see here. I'm just
You're
seeing
right.
if there's anything.
That means Zerglings exist. They do. They
Hello,
do.
Scott.
It's the Aberrants.
Yes, the Aberrants are based a little bit on my love for Zerg. That is accurate. Zygon says that he's excited to see the new characters in action. They've been doing pretty well. Last night's combat was a bit rough for our new adventurers, but everything turned out really good in the end.
And it's fine. I mean, they mostly died.
Mostly dead. Yeah.
It's mostly dead. Difference between mostly dead and all the way dead.
I was hoping that wasn't the case. Well, I'm sorry. Zerg do exist, and they literally live to consume everything.
It's true.
So all new characters for episode 3, huh? We won't spoil anything or not spoil anything. No, but it was a fun game last night.
Yeah, it was enjoyable.
Brian P, hello, welcome. We are just getting started doing some art for the new characters here. So Preston is currently drawing Aloma Starcaser, which if you've watched our session 0, you know that he is a mixture of classes. We'll just call it that. And his main character goal, he is searching for the moon, or at least the goddess of the moon, who is calling out to him. And if you remember anything from the last season, or if you haven't yet, or if you haven't yet seen it, sorry, this is a little bit of a spoiler. The moon is broken right now. It is it kind of is a shattered figure in the sky at night. So it's an interesting little dynamic that he's hearing this goddess of the moon when the moon itself is not whole. Yes, we do normally play on Thursdays. That is I would say 99% of the game night. There's like a 1% chance we have to move it to another day if somebody can't make it that day. But yeah, Thursdays are the day, which means that unfortunately I keep Preston from watching the latest Critical Role live every single week.
That's okay.
Exactly.
That's what the VODs are for.
If he's hearing things, he must be crazy. Explains the 3-hour episodes. Yeah, I mean, we do go pretty late into the evening. I think this second episode is going to clock in at like 4.5 hours, maybe 5. Like, it was a long one. It was it was long. Oh yeah. I had a lot of fun with it, and I'm glad that one of my goals for myself was to give you guys more dynamic combats, right?
Mm-hmm.
That weren't just about 2 people running at each other and then attacking until one of them dies. And episode 1, I failed that pretty horribly, I think. But episode 2, I definitely succeeded in my goal, and I hope to carry that over.
So, fun fact about the knees: wherever the knee is pointing, so if you're ever having to draw them, the feet usually follow wherever the knee goes.
Oh, okay.
So, fun fact.
Alrighty, cool. Oh yeah, because I mean, unless you do like a weird twist leg thing. No, actually, even if you twist your foot out,
Isn't it? It's weird, huh? That's Like in my
I'm
brain,
trying
it's
to,
like trying to get it to a
I'm sitting
different
here
way.
trying to like twist my foot, but not my knee, and I'm like, that's a great way to get
Yeah.
get hurt.
Well, it's like it's like those TikToks when they say like, "Did you know the inside lining of your mouth is the same tissue as other sensitive areas?" And then people will be sticking their tongue in their cheek, and it's like, "You sicko, quit sticking your tongue in your cheek."
I think the one that I've seen,
Get me every time.
which is bad, but it's the Twitch chat trying to tell streamer girls that they can't touch their elbows together
Oh yeah,
just to get them to
yeah,
flaunt a little cleavage, and it's like
yeah.
okay,
Come
alrighty,
on.
all right, calm down now, chat. I will not be doing that, by the way.
Well, I
that
don't know
is
if you guys tip enough, I might. But
that's true. That's true. If we get some good tips tonight, sure, I'll push them together.
just kidding.
That's what the streams are for, so we can be a little more raunchy than normal.
More silly.
Yeah.
Yep. All right. Come on.
Bosco says that Digigrade is his mortal nemesis. I would imagine that it is very hard, especially if you've done a lot of like professional training in art and you've learned the normal way that anatomy looks, and then you have to suddenly be like, yes, but what if wolf?
Yeah, that's true.
Scott says that he just managed to do the foot without turning the knee, but it's that
Uncomfortable.
sounds like I need to take him to the hospital. Maybe he's had bad knees for a while now.
It's not supposed to twist that way.
Lost you guys for a minute there. Are we back? Everyone, tell us if we're back. I'm a little worried. It looks like we're live. I'm still seeing everything.
Let me make sure.
Oh, Scott means he's the elbow touching.
Oh, the elbow touching.
Not the knee twisting.
He's twisting it.
Okay. We are Frouth. We are not Bouth. Okay.
We are Frouth.
Mhm.
We are Frouth.
So actually, I love that little because it's your We Are Groot joke, because the creature that the aberrant mind render was based on, like the figure that it's from, is actually a fungal creature and considered a plant in the homebrew that it was generated
nice.
for. Yeah, so I was just like, hey, that makes sense a little bit.
Yeah, that's perfect. And when they die together.
Yes. Yeah, I mean, what do you feel about dynamic combats, Preston?
I think they're fun.
Like, do you enjoy making all of your combats more dynamic, or do you think that there's a balance that you need to strike there?
I think there's a balance. I think they're I don't know. I feel like that there's some times where, especially when you get into a fight early on, like let's say you went and you fought some basilisks, for instance, right? And at level 4, you get completely smattered, right? I think it's kind of fun later on to show that growth and progression, to just throw it in there and be like, oh, here's a group of basilisks, and then you guys completely just obliterate them. You know what I mean? Like, so
Yeah,
there's kind of that give and take where sometimes you give that hero's journey where they have to stretch and think and like pull, but then I think there's also a place for that to show the growth, because then otherwise they always kind of feel inadequate. I feel like there's that kind of like just that nice in between. I feel like more often than not having those growth opportunities, because if it's just combat for the sake of combat, then you kind of lose the spirit of it. But that's kind of my feeling. How about you?
I'm about the same way. I feel like there's a time and place for a good like combat with extra steps, but if you make every combat being like, here's a new crazy battlefield and here's like 3 different alternate objectives that you can do, like your party's going to get overwhelmed and they're just going to be like, I feel like I'm not enjoying combat. Sometimes you do just want to hit them up. Fine.
It's true. Okay, let's do.
Z Spambot. These are the figures that Scott painted already that we have up as reference here. They are just the best reference that we have for him now. Obviously, they kind of provided their own descriptions, but Hero Forge has been so fantastic to be able to really like display your character and show off what you want your character to look like, right? Like it's been really awesome. Zygon says he likes a good alternate win con or clever ideas, but a good smash and bash is always fun. Agreed. There's nothing wrong with just being like, hey, you see this big bag of hit points? Why don't you go punch it as hard as you can?
Yeah. Make sure it doesn't wake up in the morning. All right. So what I was going to try and do...
Oh, Bosco, well, I hope you get a little bit more time to do some art. If you have some time now, why don't you do some art alongside us?
Do it. Okay. Thinking was some of the important parts. This is something that can be helpful for anyone who's interested in character design. Like right now, obviously, we kind of have our models for us, but sometimes doing silhouettes can be helpful, because then what you end up focusing, what you should be focusing on, is kind of like what makes that character the character, and making that stand out. Because if you can do it when there's like nothing else but the silhouette, then it makes it a little bit easier for a successful design. So, but I don't think that I'm gonna. I don't know. I think I'm just gonna kind of stick with what they have in there. That'll be just be easier.
Yeah, that's a good idea, though. Thank you. I always love your little insights.
Yeah. So.
Brian says, has anyone tried the individual health limb boss style? How'd that work? So the Aberrant Mind Render fight actually was a little bit of a limb fight as well. The tumors that Ceradon ran around and fought while the rest of the party died were like extra limbs that you could attack to deal damage to it, sort of like weak points. As far as like making it so the boss has like an arm with health and another arm, or kind of the different body parts, I haven't done that yet, but I do have plans for it.
Yeah, it reminds me of those. Do you remember those? It's not the side scrollers, but like Galaga and some of those other games where you when you're shooting the boss and you have like the guns or whatever, you shoot off the sidearm gun, then you shoot off the other sidearm gun, and you slowly kind of whittle it down. So it reminds me of.
and you're like firing, and then you hit that final point, and the thing like rocks back and forth. I love it. Yeah, it's so good.
Yeah, it makes for a good time. Fun fact: long time ago in another life, I made a game at an indie game studio called Gremlin Games. The game was called Rimblade, and that was the type of top-down shooter it was. It was a spiritual successor to those who remember the Turbo Graphics, which is an really old, like Nintendo 64 type thing. Yeah, it was a game on there that was a top-down, so it was a spiritual successor to that. So you might not see it anymore because the guy who owned the company died, but it was a good fun time.
Dang, I was gonna be like, let me know where I can find this.
Yeah, there's plenty of, actually you can get it bootleg. There's a lot of bootleg places, and I condone it because it's not on the Play Store. So
yeah, is it just a? So it's just a yeah.
Let me see if
just a mobile.
Yeah, it was on Android. Rimblade Android. Bring it over here to the screen. You can
again. I mention this every time, but I've always wanted to do every time we talk about your work with like video game design and everything. But I've always wanted to do video game design, and I've always kind of been like the worst part is like I want to start with a project in mind, right? Like I don't want to just go in there and be like, I'm just going to learn the basics and just dink around, because that's usually a recipe for me just to get bored and leave and go away. But the project that I have in mind is a Tales of Aneria RPG, like a side game RPG where you play as a character going through sort of Final Fantasy top-down style. Oh wow, that is really cool.
Yes, this was the game that I did the art directing and all that other fun on.
Very cool.
So that was like back in the very first Android phone days. And fun fact, this is something that I highly recommend. Again, anybody who's getting into art assets or video game design is work on mobile, because that forces you to optimize the crap out of everything. Because if you don't, then nothing works. And on that one, back in that time, the sorry, I'm changing my nib. The nib that I had was Going too low.
Oh, okay.
Back in that time, the bitmap limit for Android was 25 megabytes. That's megabytes.
Oh, wow.
And so anytime you loaded something in, that was the maximum amount of bitmap that it could hold on the screen at once. And so you had to go and optimize the crap out of all your sprite sheets, all your atlas pages, and yeah.
Oh,
So
wow.
yeah, that's actually how I got into mobile development, which is one of my current
full-time
jobs. So
one of my current.
One
and then of course there's this.
Yeah,
this feels like a full-time job.
All the stuff. So
people are saying Space Invaders meets Star Fox or Galaga.
Yeah, exactly.
Galaga invade a fox, says Bosco.
There it is.
There you go.
I was looking for Star Fox, not Careless Whispers.
See, Spambot says it reminds him of the old Descent game.
Descent, yeah. Descent was a good one. That there was Descent. I remember a long time ago. This is again obscure knowledge, but there was when they used to do demos, right? You used to get the demo disc in like your PC magazine and stuff, and there was a demo disc that had like this Aladdin game that it was so crappy graphics. It was like Doom, but you were on a magic carpet and you could fly around. And you're it was basically Galaga meets Aladdin meets Descent. It was really cool.
Was it a side scroller?
This one was actually, it was like somewhat 3D. It's like Doom. It was that kind of 3D where it was like kind of cut paper looking. So everywhere you looked, everything was kind of isometric.
Oh boy.
Yeah.
I never played the original Doom. I was like 7 at the time, so it was a bit too violent for me or whatever.
Or Wolfenstein.
But it was so yeah. So I cut my teeth on GoldenEye. Actually, was the shooter that I cut my teeth on.
Nice. One on 64.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that was good. And anybody who played Odd Job.
The dirty, filthy cheaters, you mean?
Cheaters. Yeah, my buddy used to justify it and say, if it was cheating, they wouldn't put it in the game. I was like, no, your character's like 3 inches shorter than everybody else. There's no aim assist.
Yeah, exactly. And not to mention, like, they didn't balance games back then. I mean, they still don't balance games today. They just come out with patches later.
Right.
But yeah,
that's something that I really
Job
wish.
Definitely was.
I kind of miss the days of like when it was released. That was it. So like you had to make sure it was polished and make sure it was as good as you could. And I kind of miss that because I feel like today it kind of gives a lot of. He's looking kind of like. Sorry, I'm trying to make sure he stays wolfy and not. Right now he's going kind of. What's that dog from Lady and the Tramp?
The Scotty dog?
The Scottish Terrier. Yeah, he's going Scottish Terrier on me.
I mean, Colby's not here to complain, so I'm all for it.
Maybe more angular features. Anyway, yeah. The other one that was a lot of fun. Do you ever play Hexen?
No.
Hexen. You'll look that one up. That one's basically Doom, but high fantasy. It was a lot of fun.
Oh. Yeah, this style, like, I don't know what it is, but it's not my aesthetic, I guess, is what it would be. Like it's cool, like it looks cool. Actually, This one looks really cool. But like the whole paper 3D is not my aesthetic, because I see games nowadays that use that as their like homage, right? And I'm just like, that's cool for some people, but not for me.
Yeah, I feel you. And I think there's some of them too. For me, it's a lot of it's. So David, you remember Descent too? Yeah. Mech Warrior, yeah.
Oh yeah, I did not know that it was a CPU speed thing. That's interesting.
Yeah, sorry, I'm glad you remember Hexen.
That's one of the things that I love about early games is the fact that like the difficulty wasn't dependent on like we made it this specific difficulty. It was literally just a crapshoot. Like sometimes you got a game that was literally unbeatable. You know, like no matter how much they tried to make it
Ghosts and Goblins
and ship it out on time, it's like oh yeah, you can't beat this game. ET, like the first ET, the Atari one, apparently was completely unbeatable.
It was,
which is why it was the worst game ever.
It was so dumb. That one, there's like Bob's Burgers or something. When you fed this mouth, I don't know, Pitfall. Yeah, the Atari was
Yeah.
my first foray into gaming. That, and my dad had an i386 that had a one of the floppy, like the big 5 and whatever, the floppies, the actual like the discs that were actually floppies.
Oh, wow, yeah.
And we'd put it in, and he had this banner creator. And I remember his dot matrix printer. He came home one day and he was so mad because we could barely afford like the printer and like the paper and stuff. And I printed a banner that said like "Welcome home, Dad," and it was like 50 pages long.
No.
And he came
way.
home and he's like,
Oh,
"I am going to kill you."
But I said, "Welcome home. I'm
know.
being a cute
Yeah.
kid."
Yeah.
Scott said, "Your game reminds me of a game that was on my grandma's old computer. It was like that and came out around the same time that 3D Space Pinball did. Can't remember the name at all."
Space Pinball. That was on the
Yeah, so
Gateway
Space
computers, wasn't it?
Pinball- Yeah, it was one that came out with Space Pinball that came out on the Gateway computers. Yeah.
Do you guys ever play Commander Keen on Windows 3.1?
No.
That one's a side scroller, and it's I'd put it in like the Earthworm Jim category. This little kid with like this football helmet that he used to go run around, and it was fun. Spam by, you remember it? Yeah. Cory, you remember playing the first Final Fantasy on NES?
Yes, I do. So Scott got one of those like NES classics.
Ooh, nice.
And he cracked it. So we got a whole bunch of extra games on it.
Sick.
And one of those was the first Final Fantasy, and there are literally some spells in there that do nothing. They literally are broken, and you have to go online and research it, and it's just like, this spell does not work.
That's
do not
hilarious.
use it. Yeah, and obviously, like, everybody back then didn't know that, and so you had to learn trial by error never to use that spell because it's just worthless.
For real.
Scott says not a whole bunch of extras. Every NES game. I still need to go through Final Fantasy. The big problem was that I was getting to a point in the story where it was like, hey, you're a little underleveled for this, and so I had to start grinding RPG levels, and I'm not sure. It could be that I was just playing the game wrong, but I kind of was just like, okay, I've grinded through like 3 levels, and I've still got 2 to go, and I'm getting bored. I'm going to move on to something else.
I feel that. Yeah. On Final
And
Fantasy, I
that's-
feel like the first one, that one, I don't think it ever captured me until I hit. I think it was Final Fantasy 3 when they have. If anyone remembers the Death Knight, or the Black Knight, and it's like his redemption. It's a redemption story for him.
Yeah.
Load Runner.
Like I said, I've only played a part of the first one.
Yes, Load Runner, dude. I remember. So that was it was another floppy disk game, and oh gosh, we didn't have an Apple, but I had one that when we put it in, there had a turbo button on the front of the computer, and if you put in your 3.5 floppies and you put it in, and you hit the turbo button, everything would go like twice as fast. And I think it was from like 16-bit to 32-bit or something. I can't remember what exactly it did, but it was dumb.
Yeah, Scott we used to do that with Warcraft 1, where he used to him and our cousin would hit the turbo on the computer to make the building go faster.
Oh, that's awesome.
For a little bit.
Yeah, kids these days they'll never know the pleasures of having a turbo button.
Yeah. Bosco says it's been years since he's played, but his dad won't get so mad at his dad would get so mad at him for hogging the computer. Same.
Yeah.
There is not a kid alive that grew up with the first computers that didn't have to deal with the parents being frustrated or angry with them for spending so much time on said computer.
Yep. You hear the dial-up sound, and then you hear your dad's voice inside the modem. Preston, get off the computer.
I need to use the phone.
Dad, I'm in a ladder match.
We didn't have internet when we first had it.
Yeah.
When we first started playing games, and we had to use the old AOL free internet discs.
You've got mail,
right?
Yeah.
The ones that came with the ad banner up at the top.
Oh, nice.
And so we used to have to play StarCraft with the ad banner as like half there, half like sparkling behind, because it was like trying to break through, but it couldn't.
That's
and
hilarious.
so and you had to like make sure not to click the top like 1/3 of the screen, because it would literally kick you out of the game to take you to the advertisement page, and it sucked.
That's awesome.
Oh, it was blue light from Kmart, the blue light free
Blue light,
internet
yeah.
from Kmart. Oh my
Or
gosh.
Juno, Blue Mart, Net Zero,
Mhm.
AOL. Oh,
Hey Holden, thank you for joining us. Thank you for listening from work.
welcome. Not the phone.
Have any of you
Listening
played the remake of Asteroids that came out in the past year or so? Ooh, I have not.
I didn't. How's that one?
I hear it's really good. They added like a whole bunch of like extra stuff, and it's not just dying within a minute. Casey says she never got yelled at. Yeah, you didn't play computer games until you started hanging out with me. You were a PlayStation kid. You were a console kid through and through until I got my claws in you, as it were, and then you started playing games.
Now, here's a question on Dallin's character.
Yeah.
Would he be holding his scimitars? Or would he be holding scimitars or his loot? If he's prepping for battle, it'd probably the scimitars or his short swords, right?
Probably the swords, and then his loot can just be kind of strapped like you have it behind him. Scott says he's got a copy if we ever want to see Asteroids.
Asteroids.
Z, I have not played Tiny Tina's Wonderland yet.
Oh.
I do want to play it. I have actually watched somebody play through the storyline, and it's pretty fun.
I enjoy it. I like the storytelling, and there's a gal on TikTok that I don't think she's the voice actor, but she's like this little short blonde girl that talks like Tiny Tina, like constantly, and like she's hilarious. I've only played, I think it was Borderlands 1, and we started Borderlands 2, but then all my friends went, I think that was about the time League of Legends or something, and yeah, it just fell by the wayside. So, but
as soon as you find that like one online game, everything else just kind of falls away.
Yep. There's Guild Wars at first, and then I went to
many
that
times. Yeah. Yep. It was like I hopped around between World of Warcraft, Heroes of the Storm, Hearthstone, like Overwatch. I still do, actually.
Right.
Like that's pretty much like, and it's like everybody talks about great new games, and I'm like, okay, maybe I'll find the time to play that one day. I still haven't played Dragon Age, and I need to play Dragon Age.
How tall are their characters? Is Dallin's taller than?
I believe that Colby's is taller.
He's a taller? Okay.
I think Colby is technically taller.
Oh.
I mean, Dallin is not a halfling, though.
No. Trying to get some relative proportions. Let's see. I'll take that tail. Drop it over here.
Yes, Casey. Once your shoulder is better, we will be playing WoW. We'll be playing WoW. We will be playing V Rising, because I've been wanting to play that, and I know that vampires are definitely the wife's aesthetic, or at least part of her aesthetic. So that's something I want to play. We both got the Ark Survival, because they're coming out with 2 soon, and they released Ark Survival for free.
Yeah, Ark's good.
I'll warn you. I want to play that for the first time.
It does take over your life if you play it in multiplayer. I'll just warn you now. And the official servers is kind of cancerous, just because of how long it takes for things to breed and stuff. So if you really want to get into it, I'd recommend playing it, enjoying it, and when you get to the point where you're about to go and do when you mate the animals and you're doing like lineages and stuff, I would highly recommend changing it to a 10 times server, so the 10 times rates, because it's literally, there's some dinosaurs that you have to feed like every 4 hours for 24 hours straight, and if you don't, they die.
Oh wow.
So there's stuff like that like it puts this cap on it that you have to be married to it if you don't. But I love the game. It's a good game.
That seems like a lot of commitment.
It can be. It's super pretty though. That's only if you're getting into the raiding and breeding, lineage, all that kind of stuff at the late game.
Yeah.
Okay. I think we got a rough sizing on these guys.
Z Spam says he built a Doom network at work pre Y2K
Yeah.
and got 3 coworkers to play after hours on a Friday night. CEO walked by, shook his head, and kept going. I hate CEOs so much. These old-fashioned, like, you need to wear
Suit and
nice
tie.
clothes to work. Everybody needs to be in the office. I don't understand like why people like video games. Now I'm gonna go watch my sports ball. Like, I got into. I think one of the reasons why I lost a job like that I had before the job where we met, actually, Preston, was because I wasn't in the in group. I was too nerdy and they were too sporty,
Yeah.
right? And so they got to dick around all the time. And anytime that I kind of like sat off to the side and just kind of hung out with them, but really I was just on my phone, they took it as I was being lazy, despite the fact that none of them were doing anything.
Yeah.
And it was like,
It's that.
yeah,
Well, I don't understand what it is, therefore it must be wrong. Yeah. I do the same thing. It's
of course he was in a suit when he came by. Yeah, and I bet you he was just like using my company hours that I worked hard for when he hasn't done a goddamn lick of work all day. Like,
Listen, Spambot, if you could come in this Sunday, that'd be great.
we'd really appreciate it. Yeah, that'd be great.
That'd be great. So what would you say?
Sports football is what
here?
real men watch now. Excuse me while I work on my fantasy teams.
Hey man, I won't knock it either. It's one of those ones where I had a discussion a lengthy discussion. I think it was with my dad and some other guy. He was like, "Well, why do you like esports? Why do you like playing video games? Why don't you go out and like play football or whatever else?" I'm like, "Okay, well, if you're watching football, what's the difference between you watching football and me watching someone else play like esports, right? It's you're watching someone who's really good at something that I can't do, do something that's pretty awesome." So
the difference is I can also do that without completely destroying my body or regretting it the next day.
Yeah, and I have respect. Don't get me wrong. The people who play sports professionally, they're good at what they do. They can do things I could never even attempt. It's just, I don't know. When I watch it, it doesn't get my heart pumping. When I watch someone play Apex, completely different. So,
yeah,
Spambot, I agree. Yeah, the Office Space, it was a good one.
It's a really good movie. Yeah,
I like when they take the
have
printer
no
outside and
problem
beat it
with
to death.
people who like sports as their main hobby. That's great.
Yeah.
That's just another form of nerddom and another form of geekery.
You're LARPing.
That's fine. Yeah, you're
you
basically
dress,
LARPing every time
you dress
put on
up
a
in
jersey,
pads.
right?
You go out there and you pretend like you're. Oh, I guess you're not
Yeah.
pretending, but full contact
you're
LARPing.
not really, yeah. But if you are a sports nut and you start ragging on what I enjoy, well then you lose all mercy as far as I'm concerned. Like, you are open season for ridicule. Weightlifting and martial arts were the only sports I could get into. You know what? Those are good sports to get into.
Heck yeah, man.
I don't watch them because I have a fear of watching people get hurt. And watching them kind of far away in football is a little bit easier than when they're lifting weights and all of a sudden something gives and no thanks.
Every time. So it's not. I don't. Have we released that video yet with us going the pregame working out and stuff? So Colby, myself, and Dallin, we go to the gym and every time I get on the machine, the leg press machine, every time I always think of those videos when they go to the leg press, they overextend their legs, their knees lock, and then they buckle backwards. And every time I'm just sitting there watching Dallin, I'm just waiting for it to happen. I'm just like, no.
You're gonna make Scott turn off the stream. He hates that stuff too.
Bye, Scott. Sorry.
Casey told me to take it easy. Apparently, I'm ranting a little too hard about bosses and sports. I have really bad opinions on it. It's kind of a reaction to being a nerd all my life, right? Like when you're a nerd or you're a geek, you got all of the ridicule throughout your entire life, and now that geek is cool and chic and accepted, it's kind of one of those things where it's like now you want to try and like say that like we're equals and everything's cool and we should all just let live, and it's just like I don't know if I like that. Cory likes football on TV because when someone gets hurt, they cut away and go to commercial. Exactly. Yep. I do enjoy watching the Super Bowl.
Another fun fact about Fuzzy, me, Preston, all those things. I used to work as a grill chef for the Kansas City Royals and the Chiefs.
Oh, nice.
And I used to tease him because I wouldn't call myself a fair weather fan. I like the Royals and the Chiefs just because like I knew Coach Reed, he lived by us and I knew him personally and he's just really awesome dude. But like whenever I'd go to the game, I used to tease that the only time I'd hear cheering out on the Royals Stadium was when some drunk guy was streaking across the field, and everybody was going crazy because they're just like, "Wah!" But yeah, that was a fun time in my life.
Yeah, locking your knees is a great way to get digigrade legs.
Yeah, seriously.
Sorry, they're still talking about that. They're behind a little bit on chat, so I just had to go back to that because, yeah. Anyway,
It's true. It's true.
I'm loving this. This is looking great, Preston.
Thanks. Does he have any scars?
Yeah, I
or
want
other
payback
identifying
against the
features?
jocks now that nerds are cool. Yep, I do. You know what? I'm pretty hashtag blessed as far as my like high school experience goes. I wasn't really, despite all appearances to the contrary, I wasn't really bullied at all. I never really had. I obviously kept my geekery to myself as much as possible. I didn't like go around talking about the cartoons or the anime that I liked. I didn't do any sort of LARPing in school. I didn't. Once I got into high school, I didn't participate because they didn't even have like a card club for Magic the Gathering. But I mean, I was in theater, but that was actually fine. There was a whole bunch of people in theater that were from different cliques. But I was never bullied. In fact, I was able to come across as the witty kid that sits next to the I don't want to call them the deadbeat kids, but the ones that really just didn't like participate in class. You know, they didn't get good grades or anything like that. They were just kind of sitting in class, almost like it was a prison sentence, right? Where they just didn't want to do anything. But I'd always get sat next to them for whatever reason because they'd have to get separated, and I was the quiet kid. Jeez, why do I keep dropping things? I need to stop that. They would all be like chatting everything, and I would make a comment here or there, and that would make them laugh, and they kind of just left me alone.
Apparently, Google's doing.
I was able to navigate the environment successfully. I had fairly good charisma again, despite all appearances. Bosco says he was bullied relentlessly. I'm so sorry, man. That's
I'm sorry.
Yeah, until he hits his growth spurt, then people try not to tend to not mess with ogres too much.
It's 100% true, dude. Like what was it, 6th grade? I was pretty small, but I think I was 4'2" or something, but I had a size 13 shoe, so I was a clown, right, walking around. And then 7th grade, I grew like 1.5 feet over the summer. And when I came in, there were some kids that I wouldn't say like I was the type that I generally get along with a lot of people and get along generally, but there were some problem kids that would try and start trouble. Or like in art class, I remember this one kid, he came over and he kept stealing my my pencils right before class. And I was just getting frustrated with him. And before the teacher came in, I came over to him, and this was like this was like the very beginning of the school year. I went over and the kid had taken him and he was trying to play like keep away or whatever. And for him, maybe he was having fun being whatever. But I grabbed the pencil and then he tried to swing at me, and I grabbed him and hip dropped him onto the floor. And right as the teacher walked in, and I just kind of walked over and sat down to at my desk, and the kid's laying on the floor, and the teacher was like, "What's going on here?" And I just kind of looked at him, and he kind of looked at me. And then after class, he was just like, "All right, sorry, man." And we were cool after that because I think he realized that I was bigger than him, and it's not gonna fly.
Like you're nothing in the pecking order.
Yes. Does he have any scars or defining features?
I don't believe he does have any scars at this point. He's a pretty fresh face. He's only got one single tail. Keep that in mind for his because he is a kitsune. Technically, they can have multiple tails, but. Big pacifist by nature, so I just wanted to look big enough not to be messed with. Martial arts was definitely more of a philosophical and spiritual thing for me. That makes sense, Bosco. Yeah. My strategy was keep my head down in the school of 1,200 people, and I would be okay.
Yeah.
I don't know if we had 1,200, but it was like 800 or something like that.
Have you guys watched Bleach, the anime?
No, I haven't watched it.
There's a character in there that that just reminds me of. He's not pacifist, but he's just really like a gentle giant type. Those were always my favorite kind of friends in school. The people who, yeah, Chad or Shadow, I think they called them. I don't remember how they say it in the anime, but Chad.
Casey says that your experience is similar to the way that she got rid of her bully. To tell her story for her, to paraphrase, because I'm sure I'm going to tell it wrong, and she'll tell me all about it after the stream. Her bully like tried to pick a fight with her, and like right at the beginning, she pushes her down onto the ground, and the girl gets up, shouts, "I wasn't ready," and then runs off crying and never bugged her again.
Good.
Joe said that he went from chunk to hunk by joining the water polo team from junior high to high school, and then after he graduated, he traded his 6-pack for a keg. All right,
hey,
that's a way to go.
Hey, you know what? There's more volume in a keg. You get more out of a keg than you do out of a 6-pack.
Exactly.
So,
yep.
At least that's what I tell my wife.
It's Chad, but in Japanese it comes out a Chado.
Yeah, Chad.
Hanging Chad, wrong context. That's an old one. There's an old meme for you. And then Zygon says his high school was really small, so everybody basically knew everybody. So you kind of just found your clique and didn't break away. Mine was the theater band choir kids. That's always a good clique to get in with.
Heck yeah.
That my school was big enough that basically it was a hodgepodge. There were obvious like little cliques, but like I couldn't tell you a single cheerleader on the cheerleading team in my school. Like that's how big it was. It was kind of just like the people who did cheerleading. There were about like 20 to 30 of them, and none of them were particularly like popular or anything like that. But the theater kids were kind of just like coming from everywhere into theater class. So I got to dabble a little bit, and so it kind of protected me a little. I like I said, I feel very grateful now that I made it through high school without any sort of major incidents.
Yeah, I agree. I think theater is honestly one of my favorites.
Oh, it looks like I got that pretty close. She said she ran at her, and I stepped to the side and threw her down, and she stood up crying.
Heck
That
yeah.
she wasn't ready. So, yep. Use your opponent's momentum against him.
Yes. Wax on, wax off.
Bosco, I'm sorry to say, but Klingon honor and roots, there is no set Klingon honor and roots. It is whatever they declare. I'm going to make a controversial statement here about Star Trek. Klingons are the bards of the Star Trek universe. They are not the barbarians. They literally are around just to tell stories about how great they are, and their honor is fickle depending on what their mood is.
Unlike Victor, honor is honor.
Exactly. For Victor, honor is honor. Joffrey said, Joffrey. I don't know if it's Joffrey or Jeffrey, whichever it is. 20
when you say Joffrey,
I had 30 in my high school graduating class. Wow. Only 30. Wow. And welcome, by the way. Yep, scalds through and through. Exactly. They are just a bunch of scalds that are like, and look at this big heroic feat that I performed. And then like when somebody says you didn't perform that, then they get into the bar brawl because that's besmirching my honor, even though it's like, no, I just know facts. Yeah. Well, the biggest Trekkie here is Scott, and he agrees with me on Klingons. I hope he agrees with me. He said he's agreed with me before.
He's like, well, you're on your own.
Barbarian sounds like a Colby class. Yep, indeed. that's you got to shred on that axe a little bit. Doing a little Mad Maxing if you're a barbarian. Luxon from Farscape or Narns from Babylon 5 are both better than Klingons. I have not seen either of those shows. I want to watch Farscape really bad. It's on my list. Not that Trek isn't fun. No, Trek is really fun. Trek is great if you can find the joy in it despite the fandom. Most of the fandom is pretty terrible. Yeah, they are mostly multi-classed, yeah. It's one of those things where like you hear about Klingons in Star Trek, and well, so I have my own little headcanon because obviously there's a big problem with the tropiness of the different species in Star Trek, right? All Klingons are warriors obsessed with honor. All Ferengi are business minded and weaselly and blah blah blah. All Romulans are sneaky, that kind of thing. And while I think that is true to some extent, I think the reason why we see that and they get these tropes is because the main people that are out in space are usually the military or whatever is prominent in that culture at the time, right?
Mm-hmm.
So like for Klingons, it's the military. So you fight the military, or you encounter the military Klingons throughout your adventures, and they're all honor bound and they're all warriors. But there's probably a good chunk of the Klingon population that's just like, yeah, honor's great and all, but I need to go to work. I got a coffee shop shift. I'm a barista and I got to make sure the beans are prepared right. Yeah, it's Planet of Hat syndrome. But then again, like Romulans, their biggest thing is all about knowledge gathering. So their espionage teams are probably the most prominent in space. So that's the ones you encounter. And then Ferengi, obviously, their merchant alliance is probably their biggest thing. You never really see Ferengi warships. You see them like once or twice, but most of the time it's like a Ferengi that's a traitor, and that's why it's just whatever prominent thing in that culture is what you see. That's why humans are seen as like explorers or weak by most cultures, is because they're just kind of like, we're just scientists. We're just out here observing things. Look at that nova. Is this a black hole? Like all that stuff. Yeah, Nog joined from DS9. Rom, his dad, was also really, really very much not your typical Ferengi, and ended up as the de facto Ferengi leader, and kind of changed things for the better, which was great. DS9 was a really good one. Yeah. So is Andromeda, but now as well. Wait, sorry.
Now
I'm behind on chat here.
Is his armor's hide, right? Because he's
yes, his armor is made of hide or leather, I think.
leather.
Yep.
Okay.
As long as it's got a lot of straps and buckles.
Straps and buckles.
I think that's the main. Yeah.
Chains and whips excite me. Wait, what?
Yep.
Wait, wrong genre.
Trek avoided a lot of the getting dated stuff since they didn't rely on CG much. They stuck with practical models and stuff as long as possible. True. Yeah, I can see that as well. We're going to probably see TNG hold up a little better than Discovery or Strange New Worlds in 20 or 30 years, because TNG will be in that era of like, oh, this is nostalgia zone still, but Strange New Worlds might be oh man, look at these terrible graphics, Where's his backwards knee ankle protection? On the back? Do you mean on like the back of the ankle? Just put a knee pad on the back of the ankle there.
He's got a what do they call that claw? The dew claws.
Yeah.
Dew claw protection and the ankle. There you go. He's got ankle pads now. Yeah, I'm trying to, because like right here it doesn't have anything, but I feel like I agree. It feels like that would be a pretty large area to leave uncovered.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's one of those. Sci-fi is one of those things where I enjoy both the big overarching storyline sci-fi, and I enjoy episodic. Like I know a lot of people are like, they don't like the monster of the week style for like say Buffy or something like that, but or they don't, or there are those out there who are like, oh, I don't like new shows because they're too much just set up and not enough payout, right? But I love both of them. Like I love both styles of show. I'm okay with a completely individual sci-fi show where it's just a situation every week, like Strange New Worlds does. There goes Scott talking about The Expanse again. Or you have something like The Expanse, which is a big long storyline that you have to pay attention to and watch twice in order to understand anything.
To fully comprehend it.
And yes, I will answer for Scott here, Richard. He is currently reading the books. He just got to the first book after the final season of The Expanse. Unless you're talking about different Andromeda books or something, then I have no idea.
Okay, let's get this. Now, Kitsune, because
Yes.
he's wolf-like Kitsune, would he have a bushier tail like a fox? Or it's like that?
Yeah, I'd say that's good. I'd say that's kind of a good dynamic there. We can't really see the ring at the base of his tail that holds his elemental spirit inside that.
Yeah,
tail.
and I feel uncomfortable putting one right in his crotch area.
Yeah, crotch ring.
Crotch ring.
He looks great. I love it.
Okay,
That is really awesome. That's his tail. I thought it was a cape.
The tail cape.
Richard, I have not watched Tenet, and I had no desire to watch Tenet. I am going to piss you off tonight. I did not think that looked like good at all, but I did not. I made it about a quarter of the way through. Not Insurrection. I'm thinking Star Trek again. Inception, and I didn't like Inception at all. Chris Nolan is not a director that I particularly enjoy, although Interstellar was pretty good. Wait, was that Chris Nolan? That was Chris Nolan, right? Tenet? Yeah.
All right.
Legendary Otterfolk item, crotch ring of the Otterly Amazing. I know what to get Scott's Otterfolk character. Yo, Preston, flip the image, says Brian P.
Let's do it.
Make sure that everything looks all right.
His face looks funny.
Yeah, I like the eyes closed look too, Jake. I think that's really a really good choice, especially when we like Colby's character isn't that old, but he definitely has a voice that makes it sound like he would have his eyes closed most of the time.
Or at least
Brian
have
says
like
he
a
thinks
bunch of
it's
fur in
the
the way.
brow line is what's causing some. Yeah, not sure.
Fraulein.
Fraulein. Cleopatra 2525. Blast from the past. Preston, here's a good question for you, just for a fun one. What was your favorite UPN show? And by UPN show I mean like the classic like 90s to
after these messages
2000s.
You'll be
like
right back.
Hercules, Xena, those type of shows where Beastmaster.
Hercules for sure. Spellbinder. I don't know if you remember that one. It was a really crappy. It was the show that, like, in my memory, it was so much cooler, and I went back and looked at it, and it was like really crappy, high fantasy. Like, I don't know, but Spellbinder was good. It was the idea was that they had these.
Oh, sorry, yeah, a little bit like Kitty or yeah.
Yeah, it was, and I think it was one of the Australian whatever networks that produced it or something, but.
Oh man, this first image with one of the characters in armor looks completely like weird. Oh man.
Yeah, it's funky.
Eye squinting him makes him look like he's sick of someone's shenanigans. It's Victor's shenanigans. Let's be honest.
It's true. I don't blame
somebody says Highlander. Does Highlander count for this? I would say the Highlander show counts. Sure. Yeah.
That's one I never really watched. But one that I remember watching a lot, or like sneaking in to watch. Do you guys remember Dinotopia? When it came
Oh,
out on
yeah.
UPN or whatever on the public television.
Mm-hmm.
I remember
Yeah.
going upstairs and I had I had one of those old TVs that had the clicker that you'd have to twist to change channels. And then I had the bunny
Oh, yeah.
ears behind it, and I'd throw my blanket over the top of it, and I'd grab the bunny ears, and I'd sit and hold them. And my mom, I remember I did that for like 2 or 3 nights in a row, and then my mom came in, and it was so freaking hot underneath that blanket because of this big CRT that's like putting all the heat into it.
Oh,
My
yeah.
mom, I remember,
Giving you just dose after dose of radiation.
yeah, seriously, it was just like sitting 3 inches from the screen. That was fun.
I now have to plan a 2-week trip or 2-week visit to Scotland for my
Nice.
wife, thanks to Highlander. Go figure.
Dude, I'd love to
Perfect.
go to Scotland. That'd be cool.
Yeah. Scott says, "Are you going to have Aloma and Aramis holding hands? Because it looks like they are right now." And Bosco says, "Colby got to keep up that PC romance trend."
It's true. It's true. Here, we'll change it up. I was trying to figure out what he'd have in his hand because he was always saying he was like kind of pacifist. He just casts spells. So
Yeah, I mean, you could just have like just his hands sitting there, or you could do a spell effect. That thing.
but he's taller.
Yeah, but like as far as like you got like Hercules, you got Xena, you got Gar the Beastmaster. I think it was Gar. No, Gar the Beastmaster. Gar is Beast Boy from DC. It's unless it's the same thing. Is it Beastmaster? The Beastmaster television series. It's
Right.
just Beastmaster. Okay.
Not moving.
Yeah, I'm adding Gar in when I shouldn't, just because of Beast Boy. But Dar, his name is Dar. Oh my gosh. Okay, alrighty. Yeah. So you got Beastmaster. Cleopatra 2525 was in that series. Farscape
Yeah.
was definitely in that series. Stargate.
Yep.
Just kind of these like episodic fantasy or sci-fi shows. You know. I'm trying to see any others here that it recommends on the list. Obviously, like Buffy and Angel fall into that category as well. They were kind of that episodic stuff. You ever watch Buffy?
I didn't.
I watched it when I got together with my wife. I told her that I had never seen it, and we watched all 7 seasons because they had it on DVD.
Oh man.
And it was pretty good. Yeah, it was. I mean, it was pretty fun.
Did you ever watch Charmed? That one I did watch with my wife.
We watched part of Charmed.
Oh.
We watched like 2 or 3 seasons. I think we watched up until the one character left the show.
Okay.
Well, the actress left the show and they killed off the character and they brought
Paige
in
or whatever.
the then unknown 4th sister that was the 3rd sister.
Oh,
or
you're
whatever.
the 3rd, 4th sister. Yeah.
Yeah. It's
Well,
like,
if you want
yeah, we had another sister all along.
If you want, we have the Book of Shadows DVD set. So,
Oh,
if you want to dust off your DVD player.
I
Yeah, back when you
I
sent
don't know if I have
Netflix
one
sent
anymore.
discs to your house. That was actually
Yeah.
so funny you say that because I was talking to Dallin that the last time I remember getting them was actually when I started watching Death Note. Was when I was getting the Netflix DVDs.
Oh wow.
And I watched the first like 2 or 3 episodes, whatever came on the DVD, and then I just never ordered another one until Dallin was like, "Hey, we should watch Death Note like a week ago," and so we started watching it. Yeah, Netflix, another age. That was back when they was iTunes. They were trying really hard to throw down DRM and
Oh yeah.
mess with people for downloading songs illegally.
Mm-hmm.
I remember that being a big problem.
Yeah. Richard Watts says, anyone ever heard of Brimstone? About a cop released from hell to hunt down escaped souls. That's Ghost Rider. That's just Ghost Rider.
I haven't heard of Brimstone.
Is this so it looks like there was a 2016 film, but that's a Western.
RoboCop?
Dutch American, Wells French. Okay, so that's not even an
Or
American one.
what's the Spawn? That was another one.
Yeah, Spawn is
You're gonna die, clown.
Spawn was a pretty fun one.
Or what was the one with the guy from The Mummy? Purple
Brendan
suit.
Fraser?
Phantom. No. He wore a purple suit, and he had a ring, and it was the mummy, the guy who played Imhotep from. It's so dumb. I can remember the character names, but I can't remember the actual actor's name. But the guy who plays the mummy, he plays. I think it's called Phantom. The Phantom. But that one was kind of a cheeseball episode or old superhero film.
Interesting. I need to look that up. Let's see. I mean, I need Casey Arnold. Okay, thank you. Arnold Vosloo is his name.
Yes.
Superhero purple suit.
I think it's called the Phantom. And it had something to do with like there were these relics, and they had to go get. I don't even remember anything about it, but
yeah, I think it is just called the Phantom.
That's a well. When I watched it, it was entertaining enough. So I don't know if it's held up to the test of time. But
okay, so I pulled up this list here. We're gonna go through this list because why not? This is fun. Of the 24 most forgettable superhero movies of all time.
Oh no!
Or according to this list right now. So number 24 is The Toxic Avenger. Never saw it.
I have the NES game.
Yeah. But yeah, that is one that's on my list. It's sort of it's kind of a horror superhero one. So
hold on.
We've got 23 The Spirit. I do remember watching The Spirit. It was all right. It's the only thing that I remember is Samuel L. Jackson does not like egg on his face. 22 is The Rocketeer. I have not seen The Rocketeer, which is a shame.
You should,
because that was the guy who did Captain America, the first Avenger. He was the director. Because
my brain works in attaching stories to things. When I was a young lad, there was a kid across the street. He had this little dirt bike, right? It was a big one of those little fat off-road bikes with like the big fatty tires. And my mom used to say, "Don't go over there. Don't ride that motorcycle. Do not ride that motorcycle." I promise. This ties into the Rocketeer. But I went over there one day. It was like 80, 90 degrees or something. And I asked the mom, hey, can I ride the motorcycle? I was like 6 at the time. She's like, yeah, sure. If you can get it started, go for it. And so I went out and I was out there riding for a couple, I don't know, it was probably an hour or more. The motor was super hot. And I went off this little jump and I was wearing shorts. And they laid down the motorcycle on my leg and ended up cooking the side of my leg, 3rd-degree burns. You could see muscle and stuff through it. And I went home and I remember like passing out because she put it in the water. 2 days later, when they put Silvadene cream on it to let it heal, I went over to their house and they were watching a movie. And they're like, "What happened to your leg?" And she's like, "You went out there without wearing long pants like your mom told you not to, didn't you?" And I was like, "Yeah." They were watching Rocketeer. So now whenever I hear Rocketeer, I think about the smell of cooking bacon.
About the mistakes that you.
Yeah.
Oh, wonderful. Oh boy, that reminds me of The Punisher. Did you ever watch The Punisher with Thomas Jane?
No. Was it good?
Yeah. So when there's a scene where he is he has one of like the mob's like informants chained up, and he's behind him, and he's trying to get information out of him, and so he's pretending to torture him, and he starts talking about how like when your flesh is seared so hot it almost feels like it's cold, like your body reacts like it's cold.
It's true,
right?
It's true.
And so what he does is he takes a torch and he starts searing some meat, so the smell of burning meat gets in there, and then he sticks the guy with a popsicle and makes him freak out like he's being burned. And he eventually tells him, and then he sticks the popsicle in his mouth. Such a good movie.
That's so funny.
I highly recommend it. Richard Watts says, and I did look this up as well, the Phantom wasn't Arnold Vosloo, it was Billy Zane.
Billy Zane. Really?
Yeah, and so I'm gonna try and find this other movie that you're talking about. It wasn't The Revenger.
It's Billy Zane. You're right.
Okay, it is Billy Zane.
I see his face. It is The Phantom. Billy Zane, 1996.
Okay. Yeah, and that is number 21 on this list of movies that that are terrible or are the most forgotten. Number 20 is The Meteor Man, starring Robert Townsend, Marla Gibbs, and Eddie Griffin. Interesting. I've never even heard of this at all.
That one was on public television.
Huh.
There was another one around that time that was that you said that Eddie Murphy was in that one?
Eddie Griffin.
There's another one that was like there's some kind of meteor that falls to the earth, and I want to say that Eddie Murphy played in it as like the main protagonist.
The Meteor Man stars Robert Townsend as an easygoing teacher who develops superpowers after he gets hit by a meteor.
I mean, they weren't.
I'm realizing
They had a penchant for
now
stealing
that
things.
I called one of my superheroes in my superhero world the Meteoric Man, and this is really close. I better make sure that there's no copyright issues. But yeah, I mean, this guy, Robert Townsend, does look like Eddie Murphy a little bit. So
Okay.
maybe your childhood brain is mixing
It's
things
possible,
up,
dude.
but-
For forever, I thought the Pink Ranger Kimberly was the same lady from Alias. So
Nope. She just
is
does. She just does porn.
oh gosh,
The original Pink Ranger. Sorry, I hate to ruin your
Rip.
childhood or add a new layer to it, but that is yeah. Holden, thank you for the $5 donation. Love the art and supporting
Hey.
the show. Stay awesome.
Thanks,
Appreciate it.
man.
Being flattened on fire really aren't superpowers, says Daniel Bashers. Welcome to the stream with that wonderful intro. Thomas Jane is the best Punisher, also a good character in the Expanse. That was for Cory. Sure, yeah. And then now Scott is off rushing to see what Kimberly has done in her adult life. So we won't see him again. I'll be in my bunk. Number 19, we've got The Geyver.
A Geyver.
Most recent appearance is Geyver Dark Hero, based on a Japanese manga. 1991's The Geyver tells the story of Sean Baker, a young man turned alien hybrid super soldier. This is Blue
Oh
Beetle,
yeah.
as he battles evil corporation Kronos. While the film didn't create a huge splash among fans, it did spawn a sequel that went directly to video, Geyver Dark Hero. The futuristic film had little
I remember
impact,
that
and the
video.
lead hero has since been left in the 20th century. Oh,
so
boy.
many goodies. What about Attack of the Killer Tomatoes? I assume that's not on there.
Oh yeah, Revenge. That was I've seen Revenge of the Killer Tomatoes. I've
Yeah.
never seen Attack of the Killer Tomatoes.
And then the Killer Clowns from Space.
Oh,
And-
Killer Clowns! They're coming out with a video game for that,
Are they?
like a 4-person, like almost Dead by Daylight style video game.
Well, they have
for
them in
that,
D&D, so
Oh yeah, the Space Clowns.
the Space Clowns. Yep.
Jake says, I just realized someone's playing Minecraft in the background of Preston.
Yeah.
And they're asking if they're winning. Yes,
So far,
yes, they are winning.
I hope so.
Number 18. This is one that I personally think that most people should know, or at least watch at least some point. The Crow.
Crow. Yeah, I have not
Yep,
seen
The
it,
Crow
actually.
with Brandon Lee. His first or not his first, but one of his only movies, because he died on set of that movie. He got
Really?
shot by a real bullet in a prop gun.
What?
It was very tragic. This is Brandon Lee, Bruce Lee's son, by the way.
Did not know that.
Bruce Lee or Jet Li? Bruce Lee's son. Yeah, you have to see The Crow. It is amazing. It is complete and utter camp, but I absolutely love it. The other like sequels are okay because they kind of switch between different characters, but the first Crow is really good.
That's the one
number
that's what's his name? He's in the Arby's and the Church of Satan commercials and stuff. He worked on Nerdist, and he's like Oryx. No, it's not Oryx.
Oh, Onyx.
Onyx. Yeah,
Onyx.
Onyx the Fortuitous. Yeah.
Yep.
He talks about the Crow all the time.
Yeah, I love Onyx. He's awesome. Let's see here. Just making
I don't
sure
know.
that I've got
I don't
both
know.
chats because I don't know.
I don't know.
I actually saw him. So he popped up on a TikTok randomly as a random cameo
Really?
the other day, and I was like, oh, I'm immediately sharing this with everybody who I know watches Onyx. I should have sent it to you. Now that I know, I'll send it over to you.
Onyx the Fortuitous.
The Crow has no right to be as good as it is. Exactly, it really doesn't. Every time that I hear about The Crow, all I can think about is fire it up. You really should check it out. It's amazing. Moving down our list here, number 17, Tank Girl. I never saw Tank Girl.
Tank Girl. Interesting.
Yeah. Tank Girl is a dystopian tale set in the Australian outback in the year 2033. Although the film and the comic that it's based on have cult followings, the characters have failed to thrill the public at large. Oh, well, okay. Give us a little bit more. It's got Lori Petty, Ice-T, Naomi Watts in it. So it's got
I mean,
some
it's
good
got
stuff in
Ice-T,
it.
man.
Where is Dallin for all the movie talk? I need more Mr. Rogers movie reviews. Yep, that's true. He really should have been here for all of this. He would have been saying fire it up with me because that's literally what we do. So whenever we talk about The Crow. Number 16, Swamp Thing, the 1989, or sorry, that was the Return of Swamp Thing. He actually looks pretty good in this. That's not bad. But yeah, yep. I mean, Swamp Thing. It's just it's a DC property. It's not really one that a lot of people remember.
Yeah, I didn't really like
Heather Locklear was in that. Wow.
Did you see the television show, the remake?
I did not. I was going to watch it, but then I heard it got canceled before episode 1, and I went, well, I'm not going to commit myself to that.
Yeah, I didn't. I watched probably the first, I don't know, 10 minutes of it. Usually I try and give series 3 or 4 episodes before I kind of pass judgment, but there's a couple of them that I'm just not interested.
Yeah. Well, and for me, I was interested in Swamp Thing until they said it was canceled, and I went, I can't go through another Firefly.
Yes, seriously.
I can't.
Seriously.
I can't deal with one season of a show that's amazing and then not have it for the rest of my time.
That's my.
Didn't they have a Swamp Thing show on USA? I think it was on there maybe back in the day, but the newest one was on CW Seed or something like that.
Something.
And Brian P says the guy who did the Gorillas art did Tank Girl stuff.
Really?
I like that. Gorillas art's pretty good.
Yeah.
Number 15 is Steel, starring Shaquille O'Neal. Everybody loves some Steel.
I've got another useless fact about gorillas that has nothing to do with anything we're talking about. But my bowling name is Noodle.
Your bowling name is Noodle?
Mm-hmm. So from the Gorillas, that's when I watched the I don't know where it came from. I think I watched the Gorillas. I'm happy. I'm feeling glad. I watched their music video, and in there, they talk about Noodle, and so whenever I go bowling to this day, it's Noodle. That's it.
My bowling name is Core, Core.
Okay.
Yep. So you can still say it Cory if you want, but it is Core. Yeah, Steel is the movie. Steel is the movie that a lot of people. No, it's not Steel, but the other movie with Shaquille O'Neal, Shazam, where he's the genie. Then people always get that confused with Kazam, which is the fake Sinbad.
Yep.
One that
did you hear that he came back?
Where
because he says he for years and years and years and years and years he basically was trying to gaslight everyone, saying it never happened, didn't exist, never happened.
Yeah.
And then finally he was like, yeah, it happened, and I'm sorry, and whatever else. And I don't know. It was just this big debacle. It was one of those things where he's trying to push a Mandela effect on, he wanted to forget that part of his life. So.
Okay, no, maybe I'm having the Mandela effect here, because I thought
Shaquille O'Neal did Shazam, and then there was the Kazam, like you said, was the Sinbad.
Shaquille O'Neal as Kazam, yeah. Yeah,
Kazam. There's another one.
And then there's another one that's Sinbad.
It's Sinbad,
people falsely remember the existence of the Shazam. However, no such film existed. It's possible they're misremembering Kazam. Yeah, okay.
You're right,
all right.
Casey.
I am very much no, there's Sinbad Kazam.
Yep.
Yeah. No, wait a minute. Okay, hang on.
So this is where it gets twisty and windy, because he sowed in misinformation, and so then everybody's like, I don't freaking know.
Yeah, Sinbad's kid shut down long lost Shazam genie movie. Yeah, okay, all right. So he was probably on the side of trolling everybody, oh yeah, I remember that film too. What happened to it? Kind of thing. Okay, alrighty. I'm good. I've never seen either Kazam or Shazam. Well, I have seen the Shazam with the newest Shazam, but that's neither here nor there.
I like Shaq. Even if he's not that great of an actor, I like him as a person.
I'm going to send you this picture for the next one, and you need to put it up on the screen so everybody can experience the terror that I just experienced. This is number 14 on our list of movies, called Star Kid.
Oh, and is this the one where he has a suit?
After a rocket lands in a junkyard, shy 12-year-old Spencer Griffith finds a cyber suit inside of a rocket that he puts on.
It's the one.
Yeah, I do vaguely remember this film, but this
Oh gosh,
picture
yes.
is terrifying, and I do not want to watch this movie again.
Do it. Watch it. Hey guys, here it is. Make it bigger.
To the top row. Although it's tiny. That is truly horrifying. Truly.
That's creepy.
No. Why are you zooming in?
I want to get a good look at him.
Okay. All right. Good. We can move on from that one. Nobody needs to comment on it. Joe, I just read your thing as I like Firefly only season 1 instead of only one season, and I was like, yeah, I like only season 1 of Firefly too.
Yeah, I'm season 1. I'm preferential too.
That is very horrifying, and thank you, Scott, for going to download Star Kid for me. I'm sure I will enjoy it later. Number 13 is Priest with Paul Bettany. I heard this was pretty interesting, but I never saw it. Yeah. That
was around Constantine, I think, wasn't it? That was when...
Oh yeah, when Constantine. It was 2011. That was when Constantine, the movie, was popular, or it came out. Yeah.
Yeah, whatever the dude that plays Satan in that one is the best portrayal that I've ever seen of that as a character.
I'm gonna look it up here because I want to remember. 2005 was the Keanu Reeves Constantine, and the devil was played by Jaimin Hansu was in there as well. Yep. Tilda Swinton was great as Gabriel. I loved her in that.
Yep.
That was the first movie that I ever saw her in. So when she came up as the White Queen, I was like,
yeah,
I know this person. This guy is Satan. Peter Stormare. Yeah, it's Peter Stormare. He is great as Satan. Have you ever seen Hansel and Gretel Witch Hunters?
No.
It's camp, but it is really good. And he is in that. He plays. Sorry?
I'm streaming. Becca's just coming in asking.
Oh, okay. Yeah, Peter Stormare is really good. He is he the one in? Did you ever see Brothers Grimm as well?
I didn't. I think. Well, no, I vaguely remember. I remember not that it wasn't a television show, was it? I remember there was two brothers, and they were There was the horror macabre more version of. I think I watched 1 or 2 episodes of it. Mm-hmm. I didn't get very far.
Okay, yeah, he's not. It's not Peter Stormare in that, but Brothers Grimm is really good. That's the movie that my wife told me it was Heath Ledger and Matt Damon, and I went, "Oh, I didn't even realize." And then I pointed at one of them, and I go, "Yeah, there's Heath Ledger," and she goes, "That's Matt Damon."
That's funny.
It was that was not a good day for me.
That's hilarious. Heath Ledger,
as a massive Fallout fan, Book of Eli was also my jam. I need to watch Book of Eli.
I haven't seen that one.
Yeah, that one's pretty good. And Scott says that Carl Urban is in Priest as well, and Carl Urban is great in anything. He's absolutely fabulous.
Not that
number 12 in our...
Not giving anything away, but Carl I like that Dallin's character has a strong Carl Urban vibe.
Yeah, I've been getting a little bit Butcher. A little Butcher.
Yeah,
in there.
Butcher.
I like that. Yeah. Casey's my wife is swooning over Carl Urban. Honestly, same. Number 12 on this list is Jonah Hex. Jonah Hex. Everyone. Josh Brolin's debut in superhero TV shows. Don't forget when you remember that he's both Cable and Thanos. He was Jonah Hex first. Everybody.
That's true.
John Malkovich is in that movie too. I
like John Malkovich.
I forgot about that. Yeah.
And honestly, if you guys ever watched Aragon, the television or the movie,
I watched it once when I was 10.
He was Galbatorix. I don't know however you say it. Again, it's one of those ones that I always read and never heard. But
yeah,
I liked his portrayal of that. Other than the movie itself falling flat on its face, I liked that a lot.
Brian P, is that the one where he said you're talking about Jonah Hex? Yes. He's the dead and brought back cowboy man. Yes. Yes, exactly.
That's the one.
And he's back for vengeance. Basically, it's another Crow. It's another The Crow. Like, that's pretty much the story. One of my favorite John Malkovich movies is him in Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy.
Yeah.
Because he plays the cult leader, Hamakavula.
So long, and thanks for all the fish.
I need to watch Hitchhikers again.
Do you ever watch the one where John Malkovich, they're taking over his body, and it's a bunch of like people that
Oh,
are
you mean being John Malkovich?
Being John Malkovich, that's the one.
No, I haven't seen that one. I've heard it's great though.
That's good.
Number 11 here is Howard the Duck. I never saw the Howard the Duck, which was, by the way, was a George Lucas joint. If anybody doesn't remember that,
And he's in Star Wars.
Howard the Duck. Wait, Howard the Duck is in Star Wars?
I'm pretty sure I've seen it when they're. Oh, hold on. Let me verify I'm thinking of the right one.
No, you might be thinking E.T. because I know E.T. is like in a
E.T.'s
Senate.
in there.
Yeah. Howard the Duck. I mean, obviously the new version of him, Seth Green in Guardians.
Oh no, that's what I'm thinking of. I'm thinking of Guardians. Nope. But George Lucas. I thought he had a cameo in another one.
Rounders. Somebody says I love Malkovich, or Daniel says I love Malkovich and Rounders. Best poker movie ever.
Rounders.
Richard Watts adds. Interesting. No One Gets Crazy, Unlikely Hands. No, we've never watched Howard the Duck, Casey. Guardians is modern day Star Wars. That is correct. Yes, that I would say. And then this is all looking really good. By the way, I know this is supposed to be an art stream, but it's
a
all
nerd
looking
stream.
really good. Yeah, we get to have fun. Everybody's having fun, right? We're all having fun here. If you're not, you're in the wrong place.
Oh, thank you.
Number 10, I don't really consider this. Is this? Wait, let me just read the top of this list again. The 24 most forgettable superhero movies. I don't know if I really consider this one forgettable. Green Lantern. Like, I don't think that Ryan Reynolds will ever let us forget about Green Lantern.
And you know what's beautiful about it? It just goes to show that second chances are good. They're always a good thing, because there's Fantastic Four as well with what's his
Chris
face?
Evans.
Chris Evans.
Yeah, it's always nice to be able to be like, don't let your past movies and flops define you. You know.
Yep.
One of the biggest tragedy I was just talking with Casey about is the fact that like all of Hollywood stopped talking to Brendan Fraser.
Oh yeah.
Brendan Fraser after so long, and he just barely got back into the limelight with doing movies and whatnot. And I feel like it's a great tragedy if it was anything malicious on Hollywood's end where they like blackballed him for anything.
Yep. They screwed him over.
Green Lantern not equally forgettable, and that's not a point in its favor. No, it is. Brian P says there's a Green Lantern movie. There is a Green Lantern movie. It is middling. It or actually no, it's bad. Sorry, it's bad. I try to be favorable for any movie just because I'm like, there's a lot of people who worked really hard in this movie.
Yeah. It has special effects.
Want to forget.
It has special effects.
Yeah, it's got stuff, and it's got Blake Lively in it, Peter Sarsgaard, so Mark Strong, you know. Best Green Lantern, go Kyle Rayner. I will take no arguments. I will take no
controversial
disputes.
opinion. There is no good Green Lantern.
Yep. Ooh, that is a controversial opinion.
Green Lantern to me, I just never got into him as a character.
Scott, you can get out of here with your Guy Gardner bull crap.
Hot take.
Yeah, Mark Strong was a great choice for Sinestro. I agree with that. Jessica Cruz is also a really good Green Lantern. I like her storyline where she was originally like, so she came from like another universe where an evil lantern that was feeding off of her fear. Oh my gosh. Okay. All right. Guy Gardner's fine.
I will have no Guy Gardner sass in this house.
I apologize. You can go now. Thank you very much.
Fatality.
Oh, thanks, Preston. I appreciate that.
You're welcome.
lad. All this will be yours. What, the curtains?
Whew. I really hope. I'm sorry for anybody's eardrums in there.
Dodged a
Jon Stewart
bullet.
actually being a hero before being in the Corps. Agreed. I wish that they would have done Jon Stewart justice in the Justice League TV show. All right, I'm gonna try and calm down again. That was I did not expect to be attacked in my own home, but here we are. But anyway, so she was being fed off of this lantern that fed on her fears because she was an agoraphobe, right? And the lantern would like take over and force her to do bad things, and she was too afraid to stop it, and it was just using her as like a puppet. And eventually she broke free of that and started controlling the ring until she was able to help destroy it. And at that point, a real Green Lantern ring came down and said that she was worthy because she was worthy of overcoming great fear. So she's got a really, really good story too. I like how we've gone through all of the Green Lanterns, the core 4 before Jessica Cruz, and I can't remember the other guy's name, one of the new ones. But nobody's like Hal Jordan for sure. Hal Jordan is one of the best. It's just like, nah, he's just Hal Jordan. It's fine. All right, continuing it down our list here. Oh, I clicked on something. That's bad. I love the lanterns thematically, but I don't know much about them. I won't go into details on it here, but they're basically a space police force. But they're really good. Technically, the best Green Lantern is Chip. That's right, the squirrel Chip. How about Mogu?
Mugatu.
Green Lantern? It's Mogo. It is Mogo. Yep. He is a living planet that got a Green Lantern ring, so he's a planet-sized one. So Casey says I may want to lock the door from now on. He can break through the lock. They're not very bad or good locks. Number 9 here is the Green Hornet.
I remember that one.
I think that's pretty underrated, actually. I don't mind the Green Hornet. Seth Rogen's good in it. Christoph Waltz is great as a bad guy.
That's the one with the car, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
And there was
Yeah,
like
where they've
something
got
about like he uses a bottle cap or something to hit somebody. I can't remember. It was probably a trailer that I'm mixing the two together.
Yeah. Well, yeah, because you've got Seth Rogen, and then you've got I can't remember the name of his driver. It's played by Jay Chow, but he does like all the work and everything.
Seth Rogen. He has the goofiest laugh.
Sounds more like Hug heard a good joke.
Yeah.
Number 8, Ghost Rider and Ghost Rider Spirit of Vengeance. I don't think that's a forgettable superhero movie.
That was Nick Cage, wasn't
it? The second one was awful. Absolutely awful. But 08 was the first Ghost Rider was pretty good, actually. I like that one a whole lot. That had my favorite devil in it, and I can't remember the actor's name, but he also plays like a biker in Wild Hogs, which is a weird fact that I know. that had one of my best lines where they've got one of the guys and they're like, if you don't come out, we're going to break his legs. And he's like, don't give them what they want. I'm a programmer. I don't need my legs. And they go, fine, we'll break his hands. And he's like, give them whatever they want. Just tell them what they want to know. It was Peter Fonda as Mephistopheles. And he does really good work. Yeah. Peter Fonda was an Easy Rider. Yeah. And now I'm looking at Wild Hogs again. Maybe I need to watch that movie. Ray Liotta was in Wild Hogs. Yeah, he was the one who was shouting about taking the legs or taking the hands. Yeah. I remember those rumors about Norman Reedus being the new Ghost Rider. That would be really cool.
Yeah. I'd be cool with that.
Yeah.
I liked him
yes,
in,
the Nick Cage Ghost Rider is campy as hell.
You ever watch, what was that other Nick Cage? It was a kind of a macabre psychological horror that came out recently. Cassidy? No. I remember Dallin talking about it.
The last Nick Cage movie that I saw was Willy's Wonderland. And that was awesome. It was hilarious. I definitely do recommend that. It is just a horror movie where Nick Cage plays Nick Cage. Wicker Man, yeah, people are saying
That
Wicker
might be
Man.
the one. Yeah.
That's an old one. That's Willy's Wonderland was the last one that I saw. Prisoners of the Ghostland was one. The Croods. Are you talking about the Croods? Maybe.
No, this one. That one's a horror movie. My kids love that.
Yeah.
They used to watch it religiously.
Oh, my wife loves the Croods. Yeah, Willy's
Dun,
Wonderland is
dun,
Five Nights at
dun.
Freddy's knockoff. Number 7, Elektra. Yeah, Elektra is
Yeah. And
definitely.
I
Definitely
think that one
forgettable.
went big because it was the name with Jennifer Garner. Because she played it, right?
And it was Jennifer Garner, and it was right after Daredevil where she was Elektra, right? Where she died, and then they brought her back, and it was like, oh crazy.
How could you do
One
that?
of my favorite things in that one was the guy with the tattoos on his body that he could summon the animal spirits from his
Yeah.
tattoos, right? That was really cool. Number 6 is Defendor with Woody Harrelson, which I think is which I think this one's a parody. Fed up with the crime overrunning his city, everyman Arthur Poppington, Woody Harrelson becomes a vigilante superhero named Defendor, and that's spelled D-O-R at the end, by the way.
That's adorable.
Yeah, it's one of those kick-ass style movies, right?
Ah.
Where it's like it's street level hero. They don't have superpowers. They're just trying to be heroes, and it goes poorly for them.
That's another one I haven't. I think I started.
Yes,
it, but
it's
I
like
haven't watched
Trogdor. Yep, Defendor. Sorry, go on.
Trogdor! I was just saying the Kick-Ass. I haven't seen that one.
It's pretty good. That's another good Nick Cage movie. Actually, he
I
does
also-
really good work in that one. Yeah.
I also haven't seen Watchmen. It's another one. It's on my list.
Really, you've never seen Watchmen?
Mm-mm.
I haven't seen the new HBO show, but the movie is really good. Like the movie was one of those where I immediately went out and bought the graphic novel so that I could read it too. All right, here's a rundown of some other Nick Cage movies that Scott says were good or not, and I want your opinion on them in under 5 seconds. Ready?
Good. Bad.
Okay.
Ugly.
Gone in 60 seconds.
Good. Eleanor.
Face Off.
So. Middling.
Okay. Con Air.
I vaguely remember it, so probably not that memorable. We'll give it a 3 out of 5.
Cole Meany is in Con Air. For people who know who Cole Meany is. And last, National Treasure 1 and 2.
National Treasure?
Yep.
If I accept the fact that it's campy, we'll give it a 4 out of 5. But if I
Okay.
don't accept that it's campy, 2 out of 5.
I like the first one. The second one fell into the trope of, hey, we need these two to not be in love anymore so they can fall in love again for the movie, the main actor
Yep.
and actress, and that bugged me. Like,
Yep.
it's just like, no, just have a different storyline. You don't have to have them fall in love again.
Yep.
Okay, hey, number 5, Dark Man, starring Jeff Fahey and Arnold Vosloo. Holy
What?
crap, is this the movie? Liam Neeson originated the role of Dark Man in a 1990 film, directed by a Fright movie master Sam Raimi. Neeson was replaced by Arnold Vosloo in the 2 direct-to-video sequels. Dark Man is Peyton Westlake, a scientist attacked by gangsters who torch his laboratory and leave him for dead. Westlake disguises himself with synthetic skin and tries to exact revenge on those who attacked him. Why have I not heard of this movie? Yep, people are calling out who Cole Meany is. That's right, Chief Miles Potato O'Brien. Scott, please put Dark Man 2, and Dark Man 3, Die Dark Man Die, on the list for movies that we need to get. I just love that one is called Die Dark Man Die, which of course means the Dark Man, the. It's German, you see.
Ah.
And then you've got number 4, Crimson Bolt, starring Ryan Wilson and Ellen Page and Liv Tyler. Wow, Liv Tyler was in that.
I like Liv Tyler.
Sorry. This is the hero's name is Crimson Bolt. Super is the movie. I don't know if you remember that one at all, but All I remember about that one is he puts out a commercial, and every time that he attacks somebody, he goes, "Shut up, crime." Yes, Bolt is a superhero. No, that's Crimson Bolt. They're two different people. You've just never seen them in the room together.
Hey, you know, me and Batman, you never seen us in the same room. Just saying.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah. When he gets rusty, he becomes the Crimson Bolt. Yep. No, I do actually recommend Super. It didn't really do well, despite having it only did 0.32 million domestic. Mystery Men is not on this list,
Mystery
but
Man.
that is another one that I would recommend. That's a good one.
Can you guys see me? Can you see me? Or the bowling ball with her dad's head in it, and what's his name?
The shoveler.
Shoveler, yeah. Or what the fork are you doing here?
Yeah.
Cutlery.
Oh, that's what is his name? What is the hero name in that? I'm gonna have to look this up.
And then you have Mr. Volcano or Mr. Fury or whatever that played by
Ben Stiller.
Ben Stiller.
Yeah.
Ben
Stiller is Furious. Gina Garofalo is Bowler. William
Bowler,
H. Macy is the Shoveler. And the Shoveler, by the way, William H. Macy is the character in Wild Hogs who's shouting that he doesn't need his legs, to go back to that. Hank Azaria is the Blue Raja.
The Blue Raja, that's
with
it.
his, yes, yep. Thank you. Mystery Men are in that Smash Mouth music video? Which Smash Mouth music videos?
Really?
I need to know what one that is. Kel Mitchell is the Invisible Boy. Yep, Paul Rubens is the Spleen. That's right. I forgot about that. And then, of course, Greg Kinnear is Captain Amazing.
You guys remember?
And Jeffrey Rush is Casanova Frankenstein. I totally forgot about that.
You guys remember? I'm going Master of Disguise.
Scott and Mystery Men. Master of Disguise.
Yeah.
I did not watch Master of Disguise.
It's pretty funny. It's dumb, but it's funny. It's solidly, if you ever watched any of the other films, what's that? It's just B-movie comedy, just stupidness, but it's funny.
Yeah. It's basically, I mean, it's the SNL crowd, right?
Yep.
Like Hot Rod was the one that I always was drawn to as far as SNL goes.
And I never seen that one. My brother-in-law, he recommended that.
It's really good, and it is like it's peak Andy Samberg and Lonely Island crew, and it's just fun.
Threw it on the ground.
Casey did not like Master of Disguise, she says.
That was a classic in our house.
There you go. Am I not turtly enough for the Turtle Club? Yep. I think that's what everybody quotes because that was in the trailer, and that was like what everybody remembers. And I'm not saying that there's anything wrong with it. It's a great quote, but it's just like the one that I'm just like, I know that no matter who I talk to, if I ask them about
the Turtle Club.
Yeah, if I ask them about Master of Disguise, they're going to be like, oh yeah, the Turtle Club guy. Okay, we're on our final three here in this big long list that I'm forcing everybody to go through with me. We've got number 3, Condor Man.
Condor Man.
Yes,
that sounds familiar.
Disney waded into the superhero realm with this 1981 light comedy action entry. An eccentric cartoonist, Michael Crawford, becomes a winged superhero he draws. The hero, an American secret agent named Condor Man, is tasked with helping a Soviet spy, Barbara Carrera, defect to the West. Interesting. I have never heard of that at all.
I know I haven't seen it, but it sounds vaguely familiar.
Was that even in the movie? I think it was. I mean, I think that was in the movie. I don't think they cut that, the Turtley Club part.
Oh, it's there. It's in the movie. Yeah. Not turtly enough for the Turtle Club. And he drinks a bunch of Pepto-Bismol. And the big bad guy, when he runs around, every time he laughs, he farts. So when he's doing his like monologuing or whatever, he's like, ah, 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 ah.
Wait a minute. I think I know who that is. Because isn't that... It's a Star Trek alum.
I'm going to nod my head like I know what you're talking about.
The Master of Disguise, Dana Carvey. Do you remember the name of it? Yeah, Brent Spiner as Delvin Bowman. the bad guy.
Yep.
He's the farter in that movie. It is Brent Spiner who plays Data.
Oh yeah, it is.
Yep. I was like, I knew it was an alum. Yes, thank you, Casey. We got there at the same time. Or at least you got there quicker than I did because this is on a delay. So this is an interesting one. Number 2 is a movie called Blank Man from 1994, starring Damon Wayans.
Like
Blank Man
Marlon
is
Wayans?
Yeah, like his
Wayans
brother.
brothers?
Yes. Blank Man is among the most unlikeliest of superheroes, an inventor who becomes a superhero without any superpowers. That's not unlikely. That's Iron Man. That's
Batman.
Very likely, yes. He creates a bulletproof costume and builds robots to fight organized crime. The movie is a send-up of the superhero genre. There's plenty of comedic star power with Damon Wayans, who co-wrote the screenplay, and David Alan Grier. Robert Givens is the female lead as a reporter. Wow, I've never heard of that one.
Yeah,
So we are getting to ones that I literally have never heard of, so that's good at least. And then the last one, number 1 here, is Barb Wire with Pamela Anderson.
Pamela Anderson. Yeah, my uncle had a poster in his garage that he had for that one.
Barbed Wire.
The Barbed Wire, yeah.
Pamela Anderson in the title role, 1996 action science fiction movie, earned its R rating for its excessive female nudity.
Yep.
That was probably why I never saw this one growing up. 1996, I was 6 years old, and Pamela Anderson was very much like in that era. She was very much the don't let your parents catch you talking or looking at Pamela Anderson, unfortunately, because of all of her like controversy around her sex tape and whatnot. But yeah, so I've never seen this. Scott, please add that to the list as well, please. And Mystery Men, Barbarella. Casey says is another one that not a lot of people know as well. Which I've never seen Barbarella. Barbarella. Oh, that's 1968. That's way old. Wow. Okay, that's freaking Flash Gordon age.
Yeah. Flash.
As far as movies go. And it's very much in the same style and look. Yeah.
I remember
Jane Fonda's Barbarella, Queen of the Galaxy.
What's it called?
I watched this one too.
Flash Gordon, and when they do the millipedes or the centipedes or whatever, and they're going up his nose. Creepy.
I've never seen Flash Gordon.
It's a good
Sorry. That's gonna be the one. You need to watch The Watchmen, and I need to watch Flash Gordon and Barbarella.
The classic.
Yep. I'm gonna have to add a lot more of these to the list.
Then you can listen to what's it called? The Queen. I want to say Queen did the song for Flash Gordon, didn't they? Flash.
Yes, Queen did the music for it. All right, movies to get. Yes, we do actually have a list of ever growing like movies that we need to look for and things like that.
And at the top of that list is
so
the
Dark
anime.
Man, 1, 2, 3, and we'll grab Mystery Men and Barbarella. Okay, I got those on the list now. Thought I saw something about Stan Lee being involved in Barbarella. Thought they were the same thing. No, that was so Stan Lee was involved in a Pamela Anderson project, Stripperella. That's probably the one that you're thinking of, actually, Casey. Stripperella was an old cartoon on Spike or Sci-Fi. Spike TV, yeah. Yep, that was a Stan Lee trying to be edgy at one time joint. So yeah, and of course he's in that. Yeah, Maurice LaMarche, Tom Kenny is in it. The voice of SpongeBob is in this. Wow. Okay then.
Really?
Yeah. John Cryer. Okay. All right. Well, thank you everybody for indulging in a list of movies that you may or may not remember. All right, let's go back to this wonderful drawing that Preston has here for us. Or at least I'm going back to it. I haven't looked at it recently. And oh my gosh, this is awesome.
Thank you.
You're really catching like the somberness of Aramis.
Yeah, I was trying to be, and I gave him the emo hair over his eyes because it's gonna happen. So
yeah.
Episode 2, there might be a little bit of dashboard confessionals.
I'm selfish, I'm strong. Yeah, I gotcha.
Indicated.
And now I just have a page of Stripperella up.
Oh.
Okay, I'm going to close that. Not a bad design for like a superhero when it's literally what you're going for, right? Like you've got your concept and you're literally going for it. It's like, yeah, okay. It's like Stripperella is probably like succeeded by like Panty and Garter Belt. You know, if you ever watched that anime or if you've ever heard of it before.
Haven't seen that.
No, it's not Panty. It's Stocking and Garter and Panty, Stocking and Garter Belt and Garter Belt anime. What is this called? Panty and Stocking with Garter Belt is the name of it.
Gotcha.
It is a Japanese anime television series that is basic. It's revolves around the exploits of the Anarchy sisters, Panty and Stocking, angels who were kicked out of heaven due to their bad behavior. They are sent to Dayton City, a pun on the Japanese word denshi, fallen angel, a place on the border between heaven and hell, which is besieged by evil spirits referred to as ghosts. They take refuge under the care of the Reverend Garterbelt. Under his watchful eyes, the sisters are tasked with using their ability to transform their lingerie into weapons and using them to destroy malicious ghosts.
Oh gosh. There's
By doing so, the sisters earn heaven coins, which they intend to one day buy their way back into heaven.
Reminds me of.
However, they're constantly.
There's an anime. You know, you're good. There's an anime that has the whole premise of the anime is they have these platforms, kind of like Gladiator style, that are on a swimming pool, and their whole thing is that they're using their butts to knock each other off.
You are talking about Whip Hip Girl.
That's the one. Yeah,
the anime that I have seen. Yes.
Yeah, that's the one. I'd seen a couple episodes of it,
is,
and I was just like, that's what it reminds me of.
It's called Whip Hip Girl Kaijo.
Gotcha.
Kaijo. Yeah. But it's hilarious. If you just go into that understanding what you're getting into, it's actually pretty damn funny, and you can have a good time with it. Yeah.
I like it.
And no, Casey, I will never stop. I will talk about anything I want on this. This is the one time that I get to be as crazy as I want.
Can't stop, won't stop.
But yeah, so apparently, like, it's kind of just a comedy, a raunchy comedy anime. So, if you are interested in that, you should. I mean, not you specifically, Preston, just our chat.
Yeah.
I mean, if you are
It's
interested in that, more power to you.
Kill la Kill is another one. It has a tone that not for everybody.
Oh yeah, Kill la Kill is very much in that same.
Gurren Lagann
for sure.
Yeah.
In fact, I think the Wikipedia does reference Gurren Lagann.
Yeah, it's the same creator, I want to say.
Yeah, same creator. Mm-hmm. Panty and Stocking were coined as the very first. The person who provided the initial idea for the series cited American adult animation such as Drawn Together as inspiration for the show's crudeness. Drawn Together was a crazy show. I don't know if you've ever seen it. It's basically they took the premise of Big Brother and they put it into animated TV tropes.
Really?
So you've got like the princess character, the Betty Boop character, the superhero character, the wacky SpongeBob-esque character, the Foxy Black character. Her name is like Foxy Brown, actually, technically. But like there's the blaxploitation character trope almost, and they just like put them in a bunch of different challenges for competing in this house game, and they're all in the house together and doing the interviews and such. So
cool.
The Pikachu, the Pikachu is definitely one of those the characters that they put in there. I'd recommend it. It's pretty funny. There's a good challenge where they split them into two teams, and they tell the one team that they have to cure cancer, and then they tell the other team that their goal is to put a ball in a bucket, and it keeps cutting between the two teams, and the one team is like working on chalkboards and with lab equipment, and then it cuts back to the other one, and they have like the bucket upside down and then the ball on top of it. Or at one point it cuts back to them and they're all in the bucket, but the ball is still outside of the bucket. It's like, oh, okay, so it is a fair challenge. Oh yeah, the Link character. That's right. Yeah. They added a bunch of different tropes in there.
There's an old one. The old Mario Brothers TV show and the old Legend of Zelda.
Oh yeah, those are crazy. Though that it's crazy to think about that there were those TV shows.
Or like when you watch My Little Pony, the old stuff versus the new stuff, you can totally tell when one of them was driven by story and one of them was driven by profits.
Yeah.
There's a big difference.
Oh yeah. Josh D, welcome to the show.
Hey, what's up, man?
Glad you were here. So what is your favorite Saturday morning cartoon then, Preston? Like growing up, what was your favorite Saturday morning cartoon?
I'd say Digimon was one that I remember a lot of. Pokemon, Beetleborgs. I used to wake up every morning and watch Power Rangers. On my we used to live with my grandma for a little bit, and I would go down and wake her up and make her watch it with me before school. Trying to think what else. Yeah, basically Fox 13. Yeah, like Fox 13. Anything that was like on there, WB Kids, that kind of stuff. What about you?
Yeah, it was basically between WB Kids and Fox 13, and you had to pick one or the other.
Yep.
And me and my brother literally had a system where we would record each of the Saturday morning blocks in the house on 2 different VCRs so that we could watch the full.
Oh man, Pepper Ann's coming on. Let's go to this other one.
Fighting Foodons, Street Sharks.
Street Sharks, yeah.
Yep, I got a DBZ in here. Yep, that is a great one.
Yes.
Yep. X-Men and Spider-Man, the 90s cartoons, if you're going with the classic 90s.
So not Saturday morning, but late night Friday, Tenchi Muyo. That was probably one of the bigger ones that I got when it got me in anime besides Dragon Ball Z. It was it's a harem anime. You can watch the whole thing on YouTube. I'm pretty sure they have it all available.
I'm adding it to the list. A lot of people are like, oh, it's a harem stuff. You shouldn't like. It's like I don't care. I'll watch anything. I'll watch whatever. Reboot. People are saying that Canadian TV show. I hate it, but a lot of people like it. It was like the first 3D animated one. Where they're inside the network and they're fighting mother box or something like not mother box.
Oh, you're talking about Reboot. It's a Reboot. It's the one where there's Reboot. And it's the Megatron, not Megatron, but they use all those tropes. Did they? I want to say they tried to redo it recently, didn't they? Netflix.
I think so.
Netflix or somebody was
Jake
working on it.
says Rurouni Kenshin was one of his.
Yeah. What about
I'm adding that to my anime list too because I will just add anything these days apparently.
Any of these old ones I can't necessarily. Tenchi Muyo I rewatched and I think it has a lot of nostalgia for me, but I would not put it on like my top 10 anime. But there was another one called Ronin Warriors. It was basically like Power Rangers, but they were old like Japanese Ronin type outfits and stuff. And they had some kind of. Yeah, I'll have to look it up. I want to say it's like Ronin Warriors or something. Again, it's anything like Zoids. Do you ever watch Zoids?
Oh, yeah, I watched Zoids.
Yeah, Zoids.
Yep. Thank you, Daniel. Yes, Megabyte. Yeah.
Yep. And Gundam Wing, Gundam Zero.
I'm getting to that, Scott. Animaniacs and Freakazoid says Brian P. Yu Yu Hakusho says Jake. Yep, Yu Yu Hakusho is one of my favorite animes of all time. And Scott wanted me to make sure that I got to this because yes, of course I would. Jackie Chan Adventures.
Yeah, Jackie Chan Adventures. Yeah.
Absolutely close to my heart. In fact, if you watch the screen right now, I have all 12 talismans.
Nice.
And everything. I have all 12 of them up on my treasure shelf. So if I ever need them,
if you like that one and
yes,
you want
the
a spiritual
one does
successor,
split in half.
If you want the spiritual successor to that for today, Ladybug and Cat Noir. The amazing.
I have heard.
It's one that my kids watched, and it was. It's a French made film, but as far as like I don't know, it's your typical like Jackie Chan. It's squarely in that vein of the way that they did the writing.
Yeah. Apparently, like people found out that Uncle's Chant in what was it? Uncle's Chant, Jackie Chan Adventures in English. Uncle's Chant. It is spirits, demons, ghosts, monsters quickly leave. That is literally what he says. But of course, everybody knows it as Yumo Gwei Gwai Fai Di Sao. And it's just like he would repeat that over and over again. And so, of course, I know it. But apparently it just means, hey, everybody, spirits, demons, ghosts, monsters, get out of here. GTFO.
That's funny.
But my spiritual successor to Jackie Chan Adventures, once it ended, was Shaolin Showdown. I don't know
Yeah.
if you ever watched Shaolin Showdown, but
Mhm.
it was another one of those where they had just like they were collecting magic items, and I was like, "Ooh, I love this!" Yeah,
Or Monster Hunter. You ever watch Monster Hunter?
I don't think I ever
It's
did watch Monster Hunter.
it's Digimon
I watched Monster
knockoff.
Rancher,
Monster Rancher. There's Monster Hunters. There was
Monster Hunter
Um,
TV show.
trying to remember the other ones.
It's just coming up with all the Monster Hunter.
That's
Oh wait,
fine.
here we go. Oh yes, I did watch a little bit of Monster Hunter.
Yeah.
Yeah, I do remember this. a
VR
little bit.
Troopers. You ever watch that one?
VR Troopers? No. Did you ever watch Roughnecks?
Roughnecks. Salute your shorts.
Roughnecks was the yeah, Roughnecks was the Starship Troopers CG
okay.
show that they
Yeah, I
made,
didn't
and
see
it
that one.
was pretty good. VR Troopers, I've never heard of this one.
It's
And yes,
it's basically Power Rangers, but the premise is that they get into it through their computer. So like it's
Oh,
like
that's cool.
Reboot and Power Rangers had a baby.
yeah. I used to remember watching Ghost Rider.
Ghost Rider, yeah.
Yeah, not Rider, but yeah.
Amazing Adventure. Was it Diane Mack? She could turn into a puddle.
Bosco, there was a Shaolin Showdown TCG.
Really?
Hang on, sorry. I need
Diverting all power to.
Yes. There was. Holy crap, that's awesome. Okay. I need to look into this a little bit more. I'm just gonna keep that up. People are saying Code Lyoko was an
Code
interesting
Lyoko.
French one. Magination?
Magination, yes, I have the Game Boy game for that one.
One show Casey remembers was Mummies Alive. Yes. Mummies Alive is really cool. I love that show. Same with like the Mummy TV show, like the Mummy cartoon
Or
series
Jumanji
was really good as well.
on UPN.
I don't think I ever watched the Jumanji one. I remember it though.
Jumanji, the Wild Thornberries. My name
Wild
is
Thornberries, yeah. See,
It's
I didn't have a
Nigel,
lot
and
of
it's so funny to listen to.
with the big nose.
I didn't have cable growing up, so a lot of the typical like Cartoon Network shows, Nickelodeon shows, I didn't watch any of those until I was already a man.
I was born in the
Shaolin
darkness.
Showdown had Krillin as the main character. Yeah, a little bit. He's a little bit Krillin.
Krillin.
Yeah, he does look a little bit like Krillin.
Now we have to give
Omi
Krillin
does.
props because he is the strongest. He's one of the strongest humans, right? He might not be Super
Yes.
Saiyan, but he's one of the strongest humans. So by human standards,
Mhm.
he's really strong.
Yeah, by human standards, he's great.
By Saiyan standards, he's a pansy.
Yeah, yes. But you know what? I can't blame him. He got the best wife out of anybody in the series.
It's fair.
I know a lot of people
Android.
like Bulma, but Android 18 is that is my crush as far as and she can crush me. That is for sure.
Yeah,
Yamcha is pretty disappointing. Oh yes,
Right.
Yamcha is very disappointing.
And what's the little guy, the cat's name? I can't remember. Little flying cat that's always with him that can turn into things. The pig. That one was hilarious. Did you ever watch Dragon Ball?
I never did.
So Dragon Ball, the whole premise, I'm gonna kill it for you. So if you haven't seen it and you don't want spoilers, cover your ears.
That's fine.
But basically, there's this pig character that's essentially a communist pig. He has a communist outfit on, and he goes and at the very end of it, he saves the world by this other guy's gonna make this wish that he's like the emperor of the world and has all this power. And this pig runs up and he says, "I want the world's most comfortable pair of underwear." And then a pair of women's panties falls on his head, and then he wears it on his head the rest of the game. Or the rest of the series. Like it's so dumb.
That's
the
perfect.
panties.
Yeah, sure.
Shotsu, yeah. Yeah, he's funny. But yeah, Dragon Ball. It's a good one. It's a kind of slapstick silly.
Yeah. And of course I was really into the original Yu-Gi-Oh series as well.
Yep.
Yeah.
My blue
Where
eyes, white
there
dragon.
were really no rules, and then they realized that there were no rules and they needed to come up with rules.
Especially if they're gonna trade it.
And so like
Sell a trading card
yeah,
game.
yeah. So they came up with they based it because the manga actually has them playing all sorts of games like poker and
gotcha.
dice games and that stuff. But they really couldn't do that for the kids show, right? So they just decided to make it just a card game. And so they started like coming out with this card game, and the writers were just like kind of winging it. And then they're like, okay, well, we actually need to develop this card game so that we can sell it to kids. And so they had to go back in like season 2 to actually be like, oh no, this is actually how the card game is played now after Pegasus is gone and everything. Yeah. God, the Dragon Ball movie was so awful. Oh yeah, the live action one. I've never seen it, but I've heard terrible things. Terrible.
Yeah, there's some things that just they should never attempt. And I feel like that generally anime is something that should just always stay anime.
Yeah.
There's very few instances that it actually goes right.
Mm-hmm.
Case in point, Death Note anime, hot trash.
Oh yeah.
Or sorry, as far as they had the live action.
The live action, yeah. I don't know if there's ever been a successful one. I've actually wanted to watch Cowboy Bebop, the live action one, because I've never seen the anime. I've never seen Cowboy Bebop, which I'm sure is going to get a couple shocked gasps. But I kind of want to watch the live action one first so that I can be like, okay, this was either good or bad, and then I can go in. Avatar: The Last Airbender's live action was awful too.
Yeah.
Yes.
And
Yes.
it had such potential.
Where's the rest of the body? Casey says. Well, that is going to have to be another day because it is
yeah.
9:00. We literally went through 2 hours of fun drawing these 2 characters. Preston's going to have to pick this up another time.
Another day.
Or just cover him in fog. Just cover him in fog. Quick, just cover the rest of him in fog.
This is what we do with characters. Here's another pro tip by Preston. If you don't like drawing hands and you don't like drawing feet, put stuff in front of them.
Yes, exactly. Don't watch the live action. Go watch the anime. Okay, Brian, I'll just go watch the anime.
Yeah.
I have a list of probably about 50 or 60 different anime that have been recommended to me that I need to watch or that I've just been interested in. It's 3 pages long. I really, yeah, it's crazy.
All right.
Yeah.
We'll call it for
Okay.
now, and we've got a little bit
Yep,
of a
we are gonna call it
background.
for now.
We'll take Aramis. We'll start come another day. But
Yeah.
Loma's there.
Yeah, looking
Ish.
great. I love Aloma. He looks fantastic. I'm very excited to see. We can probably just pick it up next time and
Yeah.
draw Aramis as well. But yeah, I had a great time tonight, Preston. Thank you so much for
Yeah.
hanging out with me and drawing all this wonderful art.
Yeah,
And
thanks
thank
for everybody
you
hanging out.
everybody on chat as well, because we love you guys just coming in and saying hi. And yeah, and we want to continue doing this. We're going to do this every Friday, even after session 1 begins, which is next Wednesday. That is right. The 14th is just right around the corner. You'll see session 1 soon. I have to go get editing that. I probably should work on that.
Yeah, I need to finish some other stuff too. So
Yeah. But thank you so much, everybody. Love you all. Wonderful job tonight all around. Thank you for just listening to me rant. And we'll see you next time.
you guys.